Yo, testing. Happy 2021. Of those who know world history, the year 1,500,721,5. Because we know that it's not really 2020 or 2021 as far as world history, because we've been here millions of years. But I just wanted to quickly touch on something. Netflix has a new series called Bridgerton, and I just wanted to get on here and just talk about the utter disrespect of Europeans. My fault, let me say it right. The utter disrespect of the modern Europeans who always act like if there's a so-called black person in royalty in Europe, this is the first one ever. Stop that. Because when the world's first kings and queens existed, you didn't even exist. There was no place called Europe. And we all know that Europe is named after Queen Europa, the African lady who's a Phoenician. And so as I'm reading articles like on CNN, other articles, the Griot, these people are lost, and they saying she may have been. First of all, the first people in Britain were African people. September Severus, the African Emperor of Rome, which I don't even like to say African Emperor of Rome because Rome was really African. Most of Rome was Africa, and not even counting that all around Rome, what they call the Mediterranean, that's all African. Right? And I'm reading articles like, oh man, was Queen Charlotte really a black lady? It's like the nonsense that comes out of people's mouths because of the miseducation of the planet. It's very sad when I look at that. And that's why I have to speak out all the time, because I can't let the youth be brainwashed. So when it comes to the legacy of Britain, first of all, the earliest skeleton or bones in Britain were found of Cheddar Man, and they just came out and said that was a dark-skinned brother with blue eyes. He was darker than Queen Sophia Charlotte, and she was not the first Moorish queen of England, because we are the people that really established Britain. Us Moors. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, when Napoleon went to Britain, he said there were little short, dark-skinned people there. I'm my fault. You know, the background, Chicago, 20, 30 degrees, furnace on. So you already know how we get down. And so, as I'm looking at these articles and people are saying, oh, she may have been black. And then you got black people who don't even know their own history. They're like, what is she? And then this whole mixed ancestry nonsense about Queen Charlotte. As if Europeans don't have African blood. Every European on this planet has some African blood in them. Every European has African blood. So they be like, she look like she has African blood. Europeans. Modern Europeans. Or how did you get here? Because humanity started in Africa. Which means everybody has African blood in them. And so, of course, you're African, you modern Europeans. It's just that you created this whole fake concept of different races called black and white. That's not even real. There's only one race. It's the human race, and it started in Africa. So when I read the article, they're like, she may have had African ancestry. I would like to say to the author, no. Instead of worrying about her, you need to understand that you have African ancestry. And if you don't know that you have African ancestry, then where the hell do you come from? Because everyone has said humanity has been traced back to Africa. And so when I see them write article, she may have this. No, forget about her. We know she's African. Europeans, modern Europeans, what about you? Because you're creating a false reality by acting like there's a such thing as a pure modern European. That is not true. And so as you continue to miseducate people for your own financial gain, the universe will respond. That's why I'm watching articles. They're like, oh, she may have been black. It's like, first of all, we are Moors, proclaim your nationality. But to make up stupid stories about that she has African ancestry, first of all, everybody on this planet has African ancestry. Asians, modern Europeans, modern Arabs. Because if you still go to eating these places, you'll still see the indigenous dark-skinned people there that have been written out of history. How could you talk about her being the first black queen of England, my fault, as a Moorish queen of England, when you weren't even the people ruling England? When we can read J.A. Rogers, we can just go travel that. And just the fact that Cheddar Man has been said to be the first early Briton. He's darker like Miles Davis. So how did you get there, modern Europeans? Because we see who was originally there. And so as I look forward to watching the Bridgerton, I haven't really watched it fully. I did reach out and tweeted Sandra Rhimes and the other guy Van Dusen, because we have to clarify some real historical context here. I had to tweet Shonda Rhimes. I sent her David McRitchie, Ancient and Modern Britons. I sent her the thing about Cheddar Man. We didn't even get the Ivor Bagel lady because, like I said, and then the Europeans can act like they're the Romans. Modern Europeans, you are not the Romans as you're trying to portray it like that. You're the new Romans. The original Romans were us, Moors. That's like the same way the original people that created jazz and blues were us, but we go to a concert, it's nothing but Europeans there, modern Europeans. And so if you want to help make change in the world, you have to stop lying to your own modern European society. Every modern European has African ancestry. Every modern Arab, every modern Asian has African ancestry. And once you are willing to admit that fact and evidence, the world can start to move forward. The dominant gene is from Africa. And so I just wanted to touch on that because it was just like, I'm just reading articles and it's giving me a headache about, they saying, was she this and that? First of all, the first people in Britain were Africans. Europe history is mostly African. It's more African than anything. This is why they never in school teach you about Europe history, because the farther you go back, you realize Africans have millions of years of history in Europe. Europeans have 10,000 years of history in Europe. Literally. Modern Europeans have 10,000. And we must remember that the name Europe comes from the African lady, Queen Europa, who was an African lady. And so, I'm going to repeat again. If you want the world to move forward, stop lying. Please stop lying. Teach your own modern European children the truth that they have a so-called black grandma and black granddaddy in the closet. That their names go back to Moors. Because we know for a fact that humanity started in Africa. And that we know from the so-called oldest Greek books, the DNA, that you are a very recent person here. No greater than 10,000 years have Europeans been here, while Africans have been on this planet, billions of years. And so I just wanted to touch on the nonsense with that. And shout out to the Moorish Queen of England, Queen Charlotte, whose spirit is definitely resonating. I got to tell people, during the American Revolution, she was the queen. And they can't tell you that because then you'll start to put the pieces together about who you truly are in history. That's why they don't talk about the Barbary Wars. Look, she the Moorish Queen of England. And we had the Barbary Wars going on at the same time when we were capturing modern Europeans on the seas and kidnapping them from ransom for what they did to us in Spain on January 1492. Yes, the Columbus coming here, we was the people on the ship. They showed them. And he went to Africa to find out how to get to America. Columbus, yes, research it. So it's time to put the pieces to the puzzle together. She was the Queen of England. which we always been. They keep talking about King George. We always been in Britain. We was there before anybody, okay? And then you had the Barbary Wars where we were going to war with the United States and we were kidnapping and seizing their ships. Matter of fact, we forced them really to sign the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in 1787 because they tried to ignore us, and we started sitting in ship and said, hey, man, we won't free any of you guys until you sign this treaty. And then after they signed the treaty, we released a guy named Captain Proctor, a colonial United States captain named Captain Proctor. And George Washington said, thank you for releasing him. And it was supposed to have been both ways, which means if we catch them, we release them. And if they catch us, they release us. But they have hid that history in your curriculum. That's why when you in school, it goes straight from 1492 to the slave trade. They don't talk about we had battles still with Europeans after 1492. And when we talk about 1492, let's really put it in context. Us Moors just lost our stronghold over there in Spain. But we still had control of Africa, America, Asia, and Australia. Because remember, they went to Australia and started to kill us, but we had still control of all those other areas. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Queen, Sophia Charlotte, who Charlotte, North Carolina is named after. And just, to the modern Europeans, stop lying. And then stop saying stupid stuff like, oh, she might have had African ancestry. No, you also have African ancestry, modern European. If not, then where the hell did you come from? Where the hell did you, if you don't got African ancestry, modern Europeans, then where the hell did you come from? And if, Because if not, you're not of this planet. Okay? We know we come from the universe, but where do you come from if you don't have African ancestry? And that's why the world is messed up today. That's why I'm reading the CNN article about Queen Charlotte. I'm like, that's why I agree with Trump when he says fake news. Here they go. Oh, she might have. People started talking about this in 1700, but no one really knows. Confirmed that she's really a black queen, but then they want to talk to you about democracy and how Trump is really the racist. But CNN, why did you let that lady write that article disrespecting African history, as if you guys are the ones who we come to forward? And so it was a failure. CNN, that article, I think the lady from France, it's a failure. Terrible article. The degree your article was kind of vague because you didn't really clarify something that's really known in history. We are the original Britons. So if the first man was Cheddar Man, that means there were numerous queens before Queen Charlotte. The first queen of Britain was an African woman. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, if we look at Queen Europa, she was the first queen of Britain, just the fact that Europe was named after her. She's an African lady. So if you want the world to move forward, let it go. And I hope somebody tags Sandra Rhimes and the guy Van Dusen who did the Bridgerton. Thank you for at least making her look like she's supposed to be looking. But please do not act like, oh, it's an enigma. First of all, for us to even be in Britain, because we were there before anybody. And then act like, oh, she's a queen. It's all fake news. We are the original everything. And once the world accepts that the creator made it like that, the world will become a better place. That's why you see the United States is crumbling. Crumbling. Because the true history of us being here is coming out every day. It's coming out every day. And Queen Charlotte, definitely, if we research, you will know. She knew we were already here. I guarantee when we research, you're gonna find documents in the future of her saying, oh, and the people of America, the people are Moors. I'm telling you, they are trying to hide all of that. They know who we are. And you better know who we are. All right, it's your boy Jay Pillar. Hey, 2021, I was telling two people that it's the 100-year anniversary of the burning down of Black Wall Street. So you know that spirit is going to resonate all year. The ancestors' spirit is going to resonate about that all year. 100 years later. So, man, check out my Patreon. I love support. I'll talk to you soon. We winning, baby. Uncle Justin Knapp.